Hi everyone, let's solve the very first question from today's weekly contest, that is apple redistribution into boxes. So in this question you simply given an array apple of size n and an array capacity of size m, right? And there are n packs where the ith pack contains apple of I apples, okay? So these are just the packs, okay? You can assume them to be like containers where some apples are placed, okay? So inside of the first container one apple is placed, in the second container three apples placed, fourth container two apples placed. Then there are m boxes also, and the ith box has a capacity I apples. So this capacity array basically represents the capacity of the boxes, right? So what you have to do is you have to return the minimum number of boxes you need to select to redistribute these n packs of apples into boxes. So what you have to do is you are given some packs, right, where some apples are kept, right? Let me show you here. So you can say that according to this array, right, you have three packs here. One apple is placed, three apples are placed, and two apples are placed. Then you have some capacity, right? So this, you have five boxes here first of all, right? So you have these five boxes here. Now each of these boxes have a capacity, so this box can at max store four apples, okay? This can store three apples, this can store one apple, and here you can have five apples, and here you can have two apples. Now what you have to do is you have to redistribute these apples that you have inside here into these boxes. Now how? You have to return the minimum number of boxes you need to select to redistribute n packs of apples into boxes, right? Now let us say what I do is I start redistributing the apple. So I'll choose the first pack first. So I'll place this apple, I'll pick it up and keep it here. Then now I have three apples space also, so I can take these three apples here. One, two, three. So now my box is completely filled. So I have taken out these four apples. Then I am left with these two apples. So I can place these two apples here. So I have to use how many bags? Two bags in this case, right? Now let us say we do not use these bags, right? Let us say I use this bag. So I keep one apple here, let's say this apple here, and let's say I use this bag. So from these three apples, I place two apples here. Then three apples are left. Let's say I use this. So you can see that I have used three bags, three boxes, right? And so in this case, my answer would be three, that I have used three boxes. But in the question, you have to return the minimum number of boxes that you have to use to take all these apples and keep here, right? Now the only catch in this question is that, see, you don't necessarily have to go according to the packs. All this is telling you is that you have this many number of apples. How many? One. Add these, right? 1 plus 3 plus 2. So basically these three apples and these two apples. So how many apples do you have? You have six number of apples. Six apples which you have to place inside of these boxes. Now obviously what you will do is take the box of the max capacity, correct? Place as many apples that box can get, and after that, if that box is not able to take all the apples in, go to the next largest capacity box and place these apples, right? So what you have to do is, let me write it like this. So you have some five boxes. What you will try to do is you will try to go, let me write this in increasing order, okay? So one apple capacity here, two apple capacity here, three apple capacity here, four apple capacity here, and five apple capacity here. So isn't it obvious that you have to get the minimum number of boxes, right? So for that, obviously you will choose the box with the maximum capacity and try to place the apples. And if that box is not able to get the, like, if it gets full, move on to the next, right, move on to the next largest, and so on. So see, you have six apples. What you'll do, you will place five apples inside this five capacity bag. After you have placed these 5 apples, you are left with 1 apple, which you can place inside of this box, right? So here, this way you will be getting the minimum number of apples. So as I said, the only catch here was to know that all you have to do is to consider these apples collectively like this, right? It is just to confuse you that okay, you have a pack, so you don't have to empty out these packs into boxes. Otherwise the answer would be the same, isn't it? That I have to empty out this pack in some boxes, I have to empty out this box in some empty out this pack in some boxes, right? So that is not what the question it has asked you. It is a little bit confusing if you were not able to solve it. So I think now you've understood. You have to consider all these apples collectively, because in the question nowhere it's mentioned that you have to consider packs, right, and redistribute these packs, right? So it's basically what I'm trying to say is, it isn't that you are having these 3 apples, okay? So let's say you put 2 apples inside of this bag, and let's say you put 1 apple inside of this bag, right? Out of this 3. Now you can place these 2 apples inside of this bag also. Like, it is not mentioned that emptying out a pack, as what I'm saying is that you don't try to put any of the other pack's apple inside of the box where you have kept the apple of this second pack, right? So that is not written in the question. So question only demands you to redistribute these apples. So you just have whatever is the sum of the number of elements given in the apple array. So you have those many apples which you have to put inside of some boxes with some capacity, and you need to return the minimum number of boxes. So what you'll do, you will take the maximum capacity box, try to put apples in, right? If apples are remaining, go to the next largest capacity box and try to put there. If not, go here, right? So this way you will get minimum number of boxes. So I hope the question is clear to you, and also like the logic for the question. Now let us see what is the approach, right? How to implement this logic. So obviously you'll have to sort the capacity array, right? So what you will have to do, first calculate. You have to do 2 things here. Calculate the sum of apples you have, right? Basically number of apples you have, you can say. So that is sum of this array called apple, right? Sum of array apple, right? And then the second thing that you have to do is sort this capacity array, right? Sort capacity array. Now you can sort this in decreasing or increasing, doesn't matter. If you sort it in decreasing order, then you will have to iterate from here and then check. If you sort it in increasing order, you'll have to like check from this direction, right? So that is it. So now let us go ahead and look at the code. You have to do only these 2 things, and you have to keep distributing the apples until and unless this number of your apples become less than or equal to 0. You have to break out this loop when you will be iterating inside of the capacity array. Alright, so let us go ahead and look at the code. First thing, I have sorted the capacity array. Then this num represents the number of apples you have, and CNT means how many boxes have I used, right? And then I'm summing up the apples, right? So inside of num, I'm storing the total number of apples that I have. And after that, I am iterating in this. See, I have sorted it in increasing order. So basically, I have to iterate from the back side, because the largest element is the last element of the array, correct? So I'm iterating from the last element, and then I am simply reducing this capacity from the total number of apples that I have, right? So let me show you here. So here in this case you had 6 apples, right? So what I'm trying to do is, when I am here inside of my for loop, I am doing 6 minus. So inside of my num, I'm storing 6 minus the capacity of this, which is what, 1, right? And this I will use for later iteration, and here I also do CNT++, so basically it becomes 1 in this case. And then what I'm doing is, I'm also checking this condition if num is less than equal to 0 after, let's say, performing this operation. See, let me show you the dry run, right? So we have how many number of apples? 6 apples, and we have some boxes, okay, and we have already sorted it. So 1 2 3 4 5, this is the capacity. Now I'm iterating from this. So within my first iteration, what I'll do is I'll store inside of num 1, that is 6 minus 5, which is 1, and in CNT, which is initially 0, I will store 1, that is 1 box I have used. And then I am checking this condition. If num is less than equal to 0, I have to break out of the loop. So let me show you here. So in this case you had 6 apples, right? So what I'm trying to do is, when I am here inside of my for loop, I am doing 6 minus the capacity of this, which is 1. So I'm iterating from the last element, and then I'm checking this condition. If num is less than equal to 0, I have to break out of the loop. right? So it is not. So we have to move on to the next element. So the next element is 4, right? And here again I'll calculate num will now become how much? 1, right? It was 1 from the previous iteration. 1 minus the capacity, which is 4, minus 3, right? And also I'll increase my count to 2 now. Now you can see that num has become less than 0, right? So I'll break out of the loop and I will return this cnt, right? So this is what you have to do, and that is what I'm doing inside of the code also. So I think this question is clear to you. Now let us discuss the time and space complexity. So already you can see that we are sorting the array. So let's suppose the capacity's length is m, that is it has m elements. So sorting will take m log m time, right? And these are simple iterations, right? So basically your total time complexity will be depending on this factor, that is m log m, right? And this is big O of n, you can say, if there are n elements in apple array, and this is big O of m if there are m elements in capacity array, right? So your total time complexity is big O of m log m plus n plus m, right? So basically, which boils down to only this part. And talking about space complexity, we are not utilizing any space here, extra space. It's just for calculating the total number of apples and the count of the boxes used. So it's big O of 1. So I hope you've understood this question. So that's it.